Welcome to the Kim D Snyder Show. This is episode number 056. Today is Friday, August 13th, 2021, day 7 of my journey. One woman, 7 figures, 20 hours or less. 3 things I want to share with you today. First one is update on sales. Second one is kind of 2 parts. It's rabbit hole of content. And then the third one is let me share my process, where I started and what I learned, because I want people to see there's an evolution. Everybody thinks that we just show up and everything works. So let me share a little bit about the journey over the last 7 days on how I've got the content up and how it's improving. First one is sales. So sales, I have had 4.5 conversations today. The first one was not curious enough to go further. The second one needed to ask for permission to spend money. The fourth one is distracted right now. They're getting ready to take off. And so we have a date on the calendar in 45 days. And the fourth one, they didn't get back to me. And so I will follow up with them in the next day or two to see where they're at on that curiosity level. Because I'm finding out that if people are curious, they'll ask the questions. And those are the people that want to learn and have a growth mindset. The second area that I want to share today is 2 parts. It's the rabbit hole of content. So rabbit hole for one, I got distracted, shiny object, squirrel, whatever the heck you want to call it, did it. I have been playing with a piece of content all day today in various capacities. The second part of this point is the content. So the cool things I've been doing, I've been wanting to do for a bit, and I've been wanting to experiment, so I did it today. What I did was I've been posting on LinkedIn every day this week related to a certain topic of decisions, how to make a better decision for leaders and business owners. And what I did was I consolidated all of that information in those posts. And then I did my first Twitter thread, and I had to break those out into 280 characters or less. So I took all 5 of those posts and created a Twitter thread. So I'll make sure I put a link to the Twitter thread so you can see what it is. Then I took it further. I took each one of those threads and I created a graphic of them. And then it was a square graphic. Then I decided I probably should create a rectangular one, so if I wanted to do a video for it. So I did. I just finished shooting a video for a YouTube that is me narrating, and I will post a link in one of these upcoming videos because it's going to take me a bit to get it going and post it on there. So I did that, and I found it really helpful because I want to make sure that I can repurpose some of my content. Now, I won't be able to do that for these the podcasts that I'm doing now, but I will be able to do those for other content. So the More Business in a Box, the other podcast that I'm doing, I'll be able to do that and get more legs from it. I can leverage it a lot more. The third area that I wanted to share with today is the evolution over the last 5 days of how I've been just uploading, just so you can see how this process has worked. And I've got my notes down here just to kind of reference. I put it together last night briefly. So on Thursday, I decided to do a video and a podcast, and I got it up, and I had a couple rules for myself, which is 1, I want to use my phone always because I have my phone, and the least barrier to entry for me is the best way. And then the second thing is that I'm not going to do any editing. So on Thursday, when I shot the video, I wanted to also use my Google Drive. So that was another reason for my phone, is because I wanted it on my Google Drive. And so it usually uploads to my Google Drive quite fast. However, it's not doing that. So what happened on the first day is I uploaded it to my drive and I kept waiting and waiting. And so I think I said it was like an hour and 40 minutes that day. Part of that was that process. Then I took it, I downloaded it from my computer, I uploaded it to Vimeo, and I uploaded it to YouTube, which took a while as well. Then I had to upload it to my Camtasia so I could pull the audio component off of that. And that's where I left it. I don't even think I put up a graphic the first day. In fact, I know I didn't. I didn't put up a graphic for the first 3 days. So I didn't put it on my video and I didn't put it on my podcast. On Friday, which was day 2, I was able to streamline that process a little bit better. On Monday, which was day 3, I went back and I created graphics for the video and the podcast, which were the same, just different size. And I went back and I updated them. Otherwise, they didn't have graphics. So the YouTube video didn't have a graphic or cover. And the podcast was using the cover art for the podcast, not for each episode. So you can make this work for you. Just start pushing. And if you want to, you can go back and fill it up later or not. Just leave it however you want. I also had started with a really basic text template. I'll say that. So I just put welcome to the podcast. Here's the episode. Here's the day. And I don't even think I put bullet points at the beginning. And so probably when I went back on Wednesday or Monday, day 3, I went back and probably updated and added a little bit more. Now, I do remember going back on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, which would be days 5 or 6, and adding more bullets. Then I remembered YouTube has the chapter thing, so I added the intro to make sure the chapters come. So again, this is not happening all at once on Friday. This was stuff that I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to do. Oh yeah, let's go do this. Okay, let's go back and refine it. On Wednesday, what I learned was that if I upload the video from my phone to Vimeo, using the Vimeo app, it was way faster than waiting on my Google Drive. And so then what I would do is I would take the video from Vimeo and download it to my computer, and that was much faster. Then on the next day of doing that, I realized that I can actually distribute from Vimeo to YouTube and Pinterest and some of the other accounts I have connected. So then that saved me a little bit more time. So I have 2 distribution channels, I guess, if you would say. On my podcast, I have distribution set up already to go to Twitter and Tumblr and the other podcast channels and some of the other social media networks. On Vimeo, I have it set up to go to Twitter, Pinterest, and YouTube. And so I figured that if I could just do it through those 2 places, it would distribute, and that has been working, except for last night, my video did not distribute to YouTube, so I had to manually go do it. So let's go see what happens tonight if it does that. The other thing that I started doing was while the video was processing, I was taking notes on the points because I'm using a Post-it, which has my notes on it. So I've been taking that to rough draft out my points, my text post, and then I'll go back and quickly record or play the recording to find the timestamps. So I think last night I ended up going quite a few bullet points. I think I'm going to just keep it to 3 right now because that's taking too much time. And I think that's probably the biggest adjustments that I've done right now for this week. So want to thank you for following along on this journey. I appreciate it. Would love to see your comments or questions that you have. This is Kim D Snyder. This is episode number 56. Please go to kimdsnyder.com/056 if you want any more details or if you want to see the video or the podcast, depending where you're watching or listening to this.